In many Indian cultures, seeing the face of the bride, the groom, or the potential life partner for the first time is considered very auspicious or sacred. But a few thousand kilometers from India, in the Western world, on a TV dating show, they prefer to see the private parts of their potential dating partners before seeing their faces. Not only that, some of these potential dating partners are rejected after their private parts have been analyzed or watched. Yes, you heard that right. Many are rejected after showing their genitals even before their faces are revealed. Yes, this may sound pretty terrifying to you, but this is happening quite openly in the so-called advanced countries of the West, and all this is even being telecasted on TV. When it comes to reality TV or dating shows, it has been observed that many developing and poor nations around the world have almost blindly followed the Western culture, ideas, or Western hypersexualized behaviors without properly examining them. But do Indians really care to know where the blind imitation of the Western culture and behaviors might eventually lead them to? Well, consider this. In the UK, on Channel 4, a TV dating show called Naked Attraction is broadcast. There are 6 pods in which the potential dating partners stand, hoping to be chosen. Of course, they stand in these pods without any clothes. Their private parts are revealed before their faces are. And out of those 6 choices, the selection of a partner takes place, while rejecting those whose lower body parts or genitals are not fancied. The leading British media outlet, the Daily Star, has reported how hundreds of times private parts are displayed or exhibited in each series. It is important to point out that these shows have been broadcast on Channel 4, a public service broadcaster with a massive outreach and which describes itself as a unique and distinctive part of life in the UK. Channel 4 is linked to UK Government Investments Limited, which is a government company. Yes, you heard that right. UKGI is owned by the government of the United Kingdom, and Channel 4 has broadcast dating shows in which not only have female private parts been exhibited or shown, but it has also led to situations when the audience cruelly mocked the women's intimate areas with vile remarks on Twitter. How horrific does that sound? But of course, that's not everything. Back in 2019, regarding a couple of complaints against the TV dating show, the United Kingdom's broadcast regulator, Ofcom, after careful assessment chose not to pursue the matter because the complaints did not raise issues warranting investigation. How shocking is that? It also seems that the UK has inspired several other European countries which now have their own versions of this dating show. Point number 2. The Western export of hypersexualized behaviors through multiple spectrums and the dark underworld of sex crimes. In Western societies, hypersexualized behaviors are not only observed on mainstream TV, but are now deeply ingrained in everyday life and even seem to contribute to job creation and their economy in so many ways. After all, societies where naked maids are hired to clean one's house, societies where many of these young women working as naked maids are sexually abused and exploited. Societies where even father and son can run a multi-million-pound adult film business. And societies where even many grandmothers go to Africa for their sexual satisfaction. Is it right to say that TV reality shows which promote or normalize hypersexualized behavior fit in quite perfectly, catering to the demand that exists and giving many people what they appreciate and want? But can we afford to ignore this horrific abuse and exploitation that many naked maids face in the UK? Or can we afford to ignore sex trafficking, child exploitation, and various forms of human rights violations that occur in the Western world, which is the global hub of the adult film industry? No, we cannot. Number 3. Rotting of societies, high-risk sexual behavior, and promiscuity in schools. With everything that is now taking place in the West, Would you be shocked if I tell you that in America, CDC data shows that in 2017, among US high school students, 40% had ever had sexual intercourse, 7% had been physically forced to have sexual intercourse when they did not want to, 10% had 4 or more sexual partners, 46% did not use a condom the last time they had sex, 14% did not use any method to prevent pregnancy, 19% had drunk alcohol or used drugs before last sexual intercourse. Mind you, these are American high school kids that I'm talking about, and it should not be forgotten that this promiscuous behavior is not backed by science. Apart from the extremely concerning prevalence of rape or forced sex that seems to exist among these Western school kids, we can't ignore that in scientific terms, experts have warned against these risky sexual behaviors and have clearly linked having multiple sexual partners to risky sex, giving importance to exclusivity in a relationship. STDs can be transmitted via mouth-to-mouth contact. HPV is the #1 cause of mouth and throat cancer, and the likelihood of contracting oral HPV is directly associated with the number of sexual partners a person has had. That is why the importance of being exclusive and reducing the number of sex partners is being advised. 4. Scientific temperament and so-called Western progressive behavior. On the one hand, many self-proclaimed progressive people in a developing nation like India highlight the importance of having a scientific temperament all day. But what happens to this scientific temperament when behaviors inspired by Western promiscuity are glorified without any critical scientific examination? What happens to this scientific temperament when they fail to properly educate people regarding the grave and negative effects of promiscuity? Following this Western trend almost blindly, various reality TV shows in India have been popping up, which seem to normalize or glorify Western promiscuity, but where will all this finally lead to? Yes, you may fear that a day might come when a TV dating show like Attraction will also be launched in India, just as many European countries have adopted this dating show from the UK. But are they trying to keep us deprived of the knowledge that we so desperately need? Otherwise, why not empower people by properly promoting the scientific data and facts that I have been highlighting? How about protecting the global cultural diversity and preventing the world from being homogenized by this Western commercial monoculture? Remember, if there is no diversity, there will be no pluralism. But then, why do the self-proclaimed champions of pluralism seem to be so silent about this? Whether it is about India's homegrown TV reality shows or those that India has borrowed, it is not difficult to observe how normalization or glorification of Western promiscuous behavior is openly taking place. And no, it is not about morals and their ambiguity. It is about saving citizens from something that is being referred to as a public health crisis. The rise of STIs is a serious public health concern, according to the US Department of Health and Human Services. I want to emphasize on this again. Please remember that it is not about moral policing. It is about having a scientific temperament so that people can make their own well-informed decisions. 5. Promiscuity, sexual imagery, and consumerism. The American economist and academic Jeffrey David Sachs holds the rank of university professor, which is Columbia University's highest academic rank. He has mentioned that the persistent creation of new material wants through the incessant advertising of products using powerful imagery and other means of persuasion is a huge problem. The goal is to overcome satiety by creating wants and longings where none previously existed. And selling products through increasingly explicit sexual imagery contributes to achieving that goal. Yes, a world-renowned economics professor has said what many are, perhaps, too afraid to say. From the world of fashion to the content we watch on TV, we can observe how increasingly explicit sexual imagery is used to create wants and longings where none previously existed. It seems clear that the Western commercial monoculture thrives on sexual imagery and promiscuity. And countries which have blindly followed the Western commercial monoculture or have adopted the economic model that thrives on greed and high consumption, sooner or later may end up in an extremely critical situation. We shouldn't forget that in special contexts and cultures, nudity may be acceptable. I have explained that in detail in one of the previous episodes. Unfortunately, we live in a world where even good traditional practices are often referred to as cringy, and Western promiscuous behaviors are perceived as progressive by many. It is a cruel reality that these Western nations are already perceived as highly developed, advanced, or near perfect, and few dare question them or critically analyze their behavior. See you again.